Welcome to Spotlight in Business. I'm Tammy Defoe, president and founder of GTApreneurs. I'm a business coach, and I'm here to help you get more clients. One way I'm going to do that is by having Allan Pollett, the SEO and digital marketing specialist and CEO of Global Net Trade, be our guest speaker for April 10th, GTApreneurs virtual networking event. But before that, I want you to get to know Allan a little bit more. So thanks for getting to the show today, Allan. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Good.
Yeah, very good. So tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been doing digital marketing and especially SEO. That's my my specialty for the last 27 years. 26,
Wow.
27? Yeah, oh my goodness. Since 1998. So
Oh, come on. You're
it's
only 29. How did you get
I
to?
don't have enough fingers to count how long I've been doing this for. So I can't keep track. So yeah, it's been a while. And yeah, so I like talking at these events where I can sort of teach people about what I do and how they can utilize my services and things that I do for their businesses. And yeah, it's fun stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, we know that without digital marketing today, everyone's business is not doing as well. So we all need digital marketing. So any tips you can give us would be fantastic. But tell us first of all, tell us what SEO means, because some people still don't know. And how did you get into providing SEO services?
Yeah, so SEO is simply search engine optimization, which means making a website rank better on the search engines. So if you want to get your site found for a keyword, well, you use SEO to basically optimize your site for a particular keyword that somebody is searching for on Google. So optimization, you can basically, every site is actually optimized. It just might not be optimized well for and for the right words. So
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing. A lot of time people will optimize things, but it's not for the right words that actually drive people to your business. So that's what an SEO specialist does. Is like they figure out what the words are and then uses the right language within the site to get it ranked for those words. So
Absolutely. Well, I had a meeting with a lady who had those, basically she rented out those portable storage moving boxes, like they're plastic
yeah,
moving
yeah, yeah.
boxes, right? And so she's trying to get her website ranked. And why is it not ranking? And she's from a small city, so it shouldn't have been too difficult, right? Because she was putting on bins,
Hmm.
yeah, moving bins. To me, when I think of a bin, I think of those big things to put in
Yeah,
front of your
yeah,
house
yeah.
when they're doing your roof and they put everything in there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the whole thing is that she wasn't using the words that the average everyday person would use there because that's just her
Mhm.
industry. And so her website wasn't being found.
Well, that's actually a big problem with a lot of companies. They'll use in like their internal language, within the sort of the jargon that they use, like bin blah blah blah, some kind of weird number or some weird thing, and people are like they would never use that. They would just say storage bin, like
Right.
very, very simple language. And but sometimes the business owner would never use that just because they have their internal jargon. So yeah, that is actually a pretty common problem. I've seen it a
Mhm.
lot.
Nice.
Sometimes it's about dumbing down the website for the internet. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of work. It's not like it's just something people can pick up, right? It's a skill that you've learned over the years, and there's other things as well, like the start architecture. I know you're kind of just focusing on keywords, but we know there's over 300 factors that Google considers when ranking
Yeah.
websites, right? So, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and actually, that's the really big thing. So when they say 300 factors, actually, that is it's actually only when you look at one element of it as well. There's actually more than 300 factors. It's like with Google, there's like the paid listings, there's the location-based listings, the map pack it's called. Then there's the organic listings. Each of those have their own ranking factors. Even the paid listings, you have to do certain optimization within your site to even optimize for the paid listings, which sounds crazy, but because you're paying for it, shouldn't matter. But you actually have to optimize and do certain things so your site will actually perform better in the ads. To get in the map pack, you actually can do certain things in your site. There's like like over 200 factors just for that. where you can actually optimize your site for the map. Then there's organic, which has its own list of factors that you can you can optimize for. It's pretty crazy. And then they decide, hey, we're only going to change everything every day. So the whole ranking algorithm, actually they update the ranking algorithm. I think it's like 400 times a year. So it's a little bit more than once a day that it gets
Oh,
changed. So it is a fun, ever-changing field of stuff that goes on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so again, that's another misconception. People think, okay, just optimize my site, right? That's a good
Mhm.
foundation, but it's not enough because what if more than one site they're optimized, right? Everyone's competing for that real estate at the top of the page.
Yeah, I mean that's the other issue is like, okay, sure, you get your optimization and you get it right for that day. But then yeah, there's another 100,000 people that decided to do the same thing. So yeah, it is very competitive. There's roughly 500 billion websites or pages that you're competing against. So technically it's very, very challenging. And it grows, it is growing daily. So yeah, it is a very competitive field of just to get into that. Really, your goal is to get into the top 10, but to get into that top 3 is actually really, really a big deal. And that's why, you know, understanding the algorithms, but also understanding what keywords to go for. And sometimes you got to pick your battles. You know, sometimes you got to be realistic. You got to budget, and you know, you got to say, well, I can go for these keywords. Like I met there's one of my funny, if I can tell a funny story. I had this one guy who made a 1-page website, and he's like, okay, I know the biggest keywords are computers, books, cars. I want to rank number 1 for all of those. I said, you got a 1-page website. And I said, I can do it, but I can't do it for, he had a budget of $200 a month. I was like, I can't do it for that. You know, maybe if you multiply that by a few 100,000, sure, I can do it. So the point is, like, you have to be realistic, and you know, you have to work with what you have. And sometimes clients will kind of think, oh, I can get number 1 ranked for some big keyword, but you have to be a little bit realistic, you know, that you have to know what to go for and what not to go for. And a lot of the time, like, people like make the mistake of going for those really big keywords that get lots and lots of searches. And then even if they get ranked for them, they realize that those keywords are actually pretty useless. Sure, you get lots of traffic, but those people might not even be relevant. You know, they're searching for like computer, or for example, and your site is computers that you have to go into a physical store to buy in a specific location. So, you know, if they're in like Timbuktu and they search for your computer store in Kitchener, Ontario, then all of a sudden there's a disconnect and they just leave anyways. So you really have to figure out what is the right keyword that brings in the right person. And it's really about getting into the minds of your potential customers and who would be your potential customers. So there's a lot involved with that. And sometimes it's not as simple as people like to think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can mean anything, right? It could be like computer courses you take at
Yeah.
school. I mean, it could be anything,
Yeah.
and that's maybe not your business. And then the people who are coming, they're going to see, oh, well, this website is not really what I wanted, so they leave right away. And of course, that increases bounce rate, which is bad for your rankings.
Yeah. And actually, one of the things I was hoping to talk about at your seminar is really the AI and the changes. I've actually had I was talking about this before the chat GPTs and all that kind of stuff really became popular. I was talking about Google's AI, and Google's AI is something that people don't realize how significant this is and how long it's been around. Because what's happened is we talked about algorithms and how there's all these factors, right? Well, what they generally do is they, as I said, they update their algorithm, right? And they update it like 400 times a year. Well, every time they update it, they have to do what's called a quality control check, where they basically say, is this better than before we made the change? And that takes people that, you have to go through the search results and do all this kind of stuff. Well, they actually have a technology called Rank Brain. And that Rank Brain is an AI that basically does that check for them. And it's much cheaper to have an AI do it than like a few people getting paid $100,000 a year to do that same task. So they've been relying more and more on this Rank Brain. It used to be that Rank Brain was maybe 5–10% of the impact. Now it's probably like maybe 50%
Wow.
of the decision making is made by Rank Brain. And so Rank Brain will look at things like bounce rate. It'll look at, so if people are coming in and bouncing right out, well, that it sees as a negative ranking score, and will actually kind of demote you over time. So if your site is not relevant for the keywords, well, over time you're actually killing your own rankings for not just the keywords that you ranked for that you weren't relevant for, but even the keywords that you were relevant for, because you're getting this weird bounce rate, and it looks like your site's just not that good for Google. So there's like a whole bunch of things like that. And as AI becomes more and more prevalent, we're going to see things happening much, much faster, where you got to be really on the ball, because Google is not very forgiving about rankings. You make mistakes and they will destroy you for a long time. It's kind of brutal. So you have to really know your stuff in order to protect against that. So yeah, so it's a really interesting time with all these new emerging AIs. But Google was doing this for 10+ years now. It's kind of crazy. And it's there's like these weird AI battles that are happening that the common man might not see, but I see, like where people are like, creating AI generated content, thinking, oh, I can, I don't even have to hire a writer. I'll just, use AI. Well, there's actually AI technology that detects other AI technology and will rank you accordingly. So there's been a bunch of weird things like that where there's these weird AI battles that are happening, and being aware of this and being aware of the changing landscape is super important if you want to maintain a business in the kind of the modern era. So it's kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, and I know you can talk about this all day long, right? So I know it's really interesting, and a lot of people have that question. Is using AI, is it going to hurt my rankings? Is it not? We don't have time to talk about everything today, right? But
Yeah.
I know that people, of course, they want to get help with their business. I know you're there to help them any way you can. But yeah, it is crazy, right? And the thing with Chat GPT and stuff like that, like I think it's good to give people ideas, but people don't realize that when two people type in the same search, is pretty much going to put out the same thing, right? And then the last thing you want is to put out the same content as someone else, because then both websites are going to get, demoted.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot more to it. Actually, there's some really cool things happening, but we will talk about a lot of that
Yes,
at
I know.
your thing. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so tell us, how did you get into SEO? Because a lot of people try it, and a lot of people are not successful with offering SEO services.
I didn't get into it like by design. Like it was not something that even existed when I first started doing it. I'm sort of one of the pioneers that accidentally fell into the industry. I had an art business. Basically, I was trying to sell art online, which is bad idea in so many ways. But I had sort of a natural talent for SEO. I sort of thought of like, how do I build my website so that every page will drive traffic to itself? And I didn't really think of it in an SEO way, but it was an SEO way, where it's like I was actually optimizing every page of my art website for keywords as a way to drive traffic. And this site that I didn't know anything about art at the time. I just thought, oh, there's lots of artists, build an art website, it would be a great idea. But I had no money. I had no budget to actually do proper marketing like radio ads or TV ads or whatever. And the AdWords didn't exist back then. So you couldn't actually advertise properly on the search engines even. So what happened was, by optimizing every page and just sort of having that strategy sort of designed into the website, I was getting like 3,000 visitors per day.
Wow.
And within a few months, my website was featured on CNN News. It was rated by Better Homes and Gardens as one of the best art websites on the web.
Wow.
It was featured in Maclean's, New York Times, CBC, if you're local, CTV as well. Yeah, it was pretty popular. I was even nominated for the Young Entrepreneur of Canada award way back
Nice.
when. But that actually kind of failed in a way, but it was kind of interesting. So I was nominated around 2001, 2002, right around that era. And that was just when the dot-com bust happened. I think it was around 2001. And it was the funniest experience. I had built this, fairly successful business online, and the dot-com bust had left a lot of people in really upset about investing into websites. And here I was, like, a website guy. And yeah, it was very interesting experience where I was nominated for this big award. There was like a whole bunch of different businesses. I was one of the few digital ones that was nominated. And I'd literally go up to these people, they'd, be introduced to me, and then I would say what I'm doing, and they'd be like, oh, and then they would just walk away because they've been burned millions of dollars
Right.
on investing in dot-com companies that had no clue. That
Mhm.
was the interesting thing about the early 2000s, really early 2000s and late 1990s, where there was this weird thing where, if you built a website, oh, here's a few $1 million to do something with. And there was a whole bunch of companies that really didn't think business-wise, that were just, they spent millions or even billions of dollars, and they had no business sense baked into their website. So they flopped. Whereas my thing, I actually had that business sense built into it and actually did it successfully, but I didn't get the love. I didn't get the
Oh,
love.
darn it.
It was so sad. It was so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's, so what ended up happening was just that whole business sense. I felt like I had to teach others in order to regain the respect that I got sort of lost. So I was going around actually helping other companies with their marketing, with how to really understand the digital revolution that we were in at that time, and show them SEO, show them like how to build a website properly. Yeah, so it was a very interesting time for me, and then I just sort of got more and more into it, with more and more people asking me, "Oh, can you help me with this?" And over
Mhm.
the years, I ended up optimizing, probably, like, I always say like 1,000 sites, but it's probably closer to 3,000 sites that I've optimized over the years. So um, just anything you can imagine, I've optimized. So yeah, so it's been a fairly interesting journey over the years.
Nice. Awesome. Well, look, before we go, just tell people what is a recent success story you've had, someone you've helped recently.
So recently it was actually interesting. So after this call, actually, I'm going to be meeting with them again. Um, I had a client where we were kind of slowly implementing the SEO, and I've only been working with them for a couple months, and they're a big company, and they get a fair amount of traffic. But within the last 2 months after doing the SEO, their traffic has gone up 70%. So I thought that was, that's pretty good. So,
No kidding, right?
and yeah, and it was really through link building and through just restructuring their website for a little bit more of an optimized like way of looking at it. I kind of helped them define their stuff a bit better, but they were actually getting good traffic before me. It's just that the SEO really shined in terms of driving that extra amount of traffic. So it's, yeah, that's always good. It's always rewarding when you can help clients do better. So that was one of my successes recently.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know you've had too many to mention, right? But
Yeah.
we don't have all the time today. But and obviously you've helped with GTApreneurs website. I'm happy we rank number 3 for many major keywords: networking events Marca, networking events Vaughan, networking events Richmond Hill, and below Eventbrite and Meetup, right? So I mean, if those didn't exist, I would be number 1. But I'm happy to be number 3 after Eventbrite and Meetup, because they have like thousands of users. Like, I think that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and they probably have a way bigger marketing budget, right?
Right, exactly. And I mean, for me, it was just about, gaining the knowledge from you, right? And give me those tips and that I needed to do. And then obviously there's the ongoing as well. You have to be keeping it up. It's not just a set it and forget it. But I know you do everything, which is great, right? And obviously as GTApreneurs, we offer SEO services. And then if you're hiring GTApreneurs, so Allan's going to do the work for us. So, so that's how you want to be doing it. And yeah, but that's all time we have for today. So thanks so much for coming on the show today, Allan. And I look forward to seeing you at April 10th event and hearing your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.